Hello, welcome to 80 Days of Writing with yours truly, Alexis Marie Chute, author of Expecting Sunshine and Above the Star. So today is day 19. That is super exciting. It's like a breath of fresh air. I'm somehow getting to that 20-day mark. That sounds significant somehow. And for me, I've done NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, and so I know what writing daily for 30 days looks like, and I know what that goal looks like. And so yesterday I wrote just over 3,000 words. It's like 3,379 or something to that effect. So I'm like inching up my daily word count. So I think the average is now like 1,700 words a day over the course of the last 18. So with NaNoWriMo, the goal is to write, I think it's like 1,600 words a day, basically 1,700-ish words a day, to reach a 50,000 word goal in the month of November. I love NaNoWriMo. I love the community it fosters. I love the accountability that it gives. I think it's like such an amazing way for writers to come together, work towards a common goal individually, but also together as a group. Cities get involved together, people get involved in line. It's just like such a fun event that I personally look forward to every year. I've done it multiple times now. I haven't always like been completely successful, but I've always strived to like reach that 50,000 word mark, no matter if it turned out to be anything or not. So today, day 19, out of 80. So it's quite significantly longer than NaNoWriMo. However, I'm inspired. I'm taking my inspiration from where Above the Star originated, NaNoWriMo 2012. I wrote with a baby on my lap, my son Eden. He was, I think, like about 4 months old. So he was still little and squishy and cuddly. He's now 5 in kindergarten. So I wrote with him on my lap. I had a breastfeeding pillow, like a nursing pillow. And so if he was hungry, I would feed him while I wrote. He would have a nap. He would watch me write. He would just snuggle up so tight and close. And it was a truly magical time for both of us. Although he doesn't remember it, but I have very special memories of this. When he needed his diaper changed, I would put him on the floor of the office, change his diaper up. If he needed to get put into his actual bed at nighttime, my hubby would swoop him away, read him a book, cuddle, snuggle, put him down. So that's where Above the Star came from. And Above the Star was such an interesting exploration for me because I am primarily, up to this point, a nonfiction writer. So Expecting Sunshine, which is somewhere buried under my 8th Island Adventure notebooks, is Expecting Sunshine. So I hope the green screen doesn't screw this up. If it does, maybe I'll just turn to, because the cover's a little green, so. Yes, so this is my first book, Expecting Sunshine, and it came out April 2017, and it was a Kirkus Review Best Indie Book of 2017. It was an Indie Reader Discovery Award winner. It was a Indie Reader Best Book of 2017. It got a plethora of other awards, Next Generation Indie Book Awards, Royal Dragonfly Book Awards. It's a very cool, vulnerable story that when it came out, I was like, oh, everyone knows me so intimately now. However, at the same time, it's an important story. So, like, one of my children passed away at birth. His name was Zachary. I was putting that book back there. And it's a story of love and loss. It's a mother's journey through, like experiencing the highest of highs. You find out you're pregnant. It's one of the most blissful moments of life. And you go along and you not only expect, but you envision your life with this child. And then when it doesn't work out that you can even bring that baby home, it is immensely devastating. And the number of families that this affects is astronomical, but people aren't talking about it. So 1 in 4 pregnancies end in miscarriage. And in the United States alone, 1 in 160 pregnancies end in stillbirth. So not to terrify you with those statistics, but just to show like how real this is. It's a real need and an ache for so many families. And so that's really where my desire to write Expecting Sunshine came from. It was, number one, writing became a way for me to cope through my pregnancy with Eden, who's my 5-year-old. For a long time after I lost Zachary, I call it my year of distraction. During that period of time, I couldn't write, I couldn't paint, I couldn't do any personal creative expression out of fear of what would come out during that time. What anguish would I paint onto the canvas, or what really depressing words would fill my page if I was writing. And so I really like pulled away from creativity in so many forms. And it was only when I got pregnant again with Eden that I realized, oh my gosh, if I don't deal with my loss and my intense grief from losing Zachary, I'm gonna carry that like as this nasty, horrible grief monster just clinging to my shoulders. I'm a visual person, so I could picture this like just weighing me down physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, relationally, in every aspect of my life. I could picture that just carrying that with me for the rest of my life. So that's where Expecting Sunshine came from, was the desire to actively, intentionally pursue healing, pursue the reinvention of identity. Because when Zach passed away, I felt like a failure as a mother, that I couldn't carry and give birth to like a living child. And I felt like a failure as a woman. I felt like just in so many ways I was lost, and I didn't know who I was. All the things that had once been pillars and foundations in my life had suddenly crumbled, and I was left to rediscover joy, rediscover direction, and like recommit to my marriage, my passions, figuring out what I believe faith-wise. Like it was such a wide, sweeping experience, and I failed a lot along the way. And in Expecting Sunshine, you'll see that I'm an incredibly flawed human being. But at the same time, I feel like those are the important stories that need to be shared. So, that was like 7.5 years ago when I lost Zach. I've come a really far way. I think that losing him helped me discover my voice as a writer and as an artist. It helped me discover what subjects I'm passionate about, and the resiliency of the human spirit. That's something that has come through in my visual artwork, in my writing, and not only in Expecting Sunshine, but also in Above the Star. So currently I teach all around the world a class called Healing Art for mourning parents, or healing art in general, because I've taught this class to people who have been through horrific divorces, who have lost parents, who have lost friends, people who have struggled with mental issues, like mental illness. Oh, sorry, I can't even talk this morning. Anxiety, depression. And because I've been there, if you've watched some of my earlier days, I talk about like my own journey with mental illness and coming to a point of mental resiliency, even in the face of physiology. Anyway, so I teach this class, and one of the things I teach in the writing session is about fiction. And sometimes people are like, oh, fiction, like, what do you mean? Like, how am I supposed to heal and empower myself through creative writing that is fictitious? But I actually feel like fiction is a blissful escapism. So for me, when I sat down in 2012 to write what was not even named at that point, but now is Above the Star, I wanted a little blissful escape. And so I sat down and I free wrote the book. And I do feel like fiction is one of those little gifts that allows our subconscious mind just to take stock of where we're at. So what is interesting to me is that there are little parallels between my real life experience that you could read about in Expecting Sunshine, and also the experiences of my characters, my dearly loved characters in Above the Star, which is completely fictitious. But there is a child in Above the Star with an illness, 14-year-old Ella. She's got a life-threatening illness, and she, along with her family, along with her peculiar allies in Jarwaya, they're trying to find a cure. And so I think that my desire for my son to live is deeply embedded in this story. There's also the marital struggles between Tessa and Arden, which is a theme throughout the entire trilogy, and I know what the ending is, so I hope you can stick with me through it. But love and faith in ourselves and in the greater world, these are similarities between my two books. And so it's really cool to see, for me, when people do engage with fiction writing, often what'll come out of that. And even just using fiction as a blissful escape. Sometimes we passively engage in storytelling as a means to relax or get out of our stressful, painful life experiences. And what I mean by that passive engagement in storytelling is plopping down on the couch and watching Netflix. I have to say, I do not put down that experience, because personally I love a good bout of cuddling on the couch with TV time. To me, it's definitely restful and relaxing. However, if you want to engage in storytelling in a way that is not passive, it is active, and it also is healing and empowering, try writing fiction. So you could do this by picking a prompt. So Google writing prompts and you'll come up with like probably literally millions of prompts. So when I'm teaching this class, some of the prompts that I use are: you're on a beach, you're walking along a beach, and you come across something sticking out of the sand, and you dig it up and you find it's a suitcase. When you open it, you find ... or ... So then you continue the story. And so I've had like just some hilarious things come out of this. I had one woman who was dealing with addiction, recovering from addiction, and she was in my Creativity for Healing and Empowerment class, and she used that prompt, and it was like she shared her story. It was a wild adventure of finding a huge load of money and then getting tracked down. And anyway, my point in saying all this is fiction is such storytelling is an important component of who we are as people. We love stories right from when we're little children, right up to, grandma and grandpa sharing stories of their life, and they're passing down their history. So storytelling is amazing, and fiction writing is a blissful, enjoyable escape, but also subconscious engagement with our spirit, who we are as people, both while we are writing and if you are a reader, as you're reading. That's why there's some stories that are universal and they resonate with us over and over again. The characters might change, the writer might change, the filmmaker might change, and yet these stories are deeply connected with the experience of being a human. Even if there's aliens, even if there's creatures from a different world, even if it takes place in a completely different place, there is universal story elements that come into it. And that's something that I love, that super resonates with me, keeps me passionate and motivated as a writer. Okay, I have super blabbed a long time today, so I think it is time for me to get pen to paper, fingers on my keyboard. Thank you for joining me on day 19, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.